Hi to everyone from the train today. I'm on my way back from Swansea to London. I had a meeting today in Swansea. It's a 3 hours journey from London to Swansea. Some of you might have already done it by train. And I thought I'd explain you today more about loan of players. You hear a lot of time, not the permanent transfer, but there's also the loan of the player from one club to another. And there are different kind of loans, which I'm trying today to explain you. So in total, I would say there are 3 different types of loans of players. The first one is the standard, the loan only, I would say, where a player from one club goes to another club for, let's say, 1 year. It's loaned to that club, and that club where he goes usually pays the salary, or the club who's loaning the player and the club where he plays sharing the salary to pay, and the player's coming back after 1 year to his club. So the loan time is over. It's for 1 year. This loan could be for the club who's loaning the player for free, who just have to pay the salary, or the club can also maybe have to pay a loan fee for the time. So there are 2 options on the first one. The second one, it's the loan and the buy option. So this one you might hear more often. Today, for example, you might hear about the deal from the Barcelona player Coutinho to Bayern Munich. And this is, for example, a great example for a loan with a buy option, plus a loan fee included. That means the player is going from Barcelona to Bayern Munich for 1 year at least. Bayern Munich has to pay a loan fee, which is 8.5 million euros. And Bayern Munich has to pay the whole salary of the player, which is 25 million. Plus on top, Bayern Munich has the option to buy the player for 120 million euros, right? So as you can see, the second model, we have a loan option where the club can really get the whole services of the player after 1 year permanently if they take this option. There's usually a time frame where this club can have to take this option and pay the 120 million, so the player stays permanently. So the advantage of an option is always that the club who's loaning the player can see within 1 year if the player really adapts to the team and if they really want the player. And the player also can see over this first year if that club is the right place for him and where he then can stay permanently. So that's the second option, the loan with an option to buy. So the third option is a loan of the player with the obligation to buy. And as a case study is here, Danny Ings, who was loaned last year from Liverpool to Southampton, and Southampton had to buy or finalize the deal this year with the buying of the player. So that means the player is a permanent player of Southampton now. This is a loan option with an obligation to buy. This happens sometimes when the club can't afford to pay the player in the first year, and they do a financial model for their books so that they can pay the amount in the second year. So for their books, sometimes also because of financial fair play, it makes sense to do a loan with an obligation to buy in the second year. So, but generally, you know the transfer right away from A to B. But I wanted to explain you today, there are also different models in football, and which is becoming more common, especially because of financial fair play, that a lot of clubs using this model next to a permanent deal. So if we put everything together, what we learned today is that we have a transfer of a player, a permanent deal from club A to club B, which you're aware of. On the other hand, we have the loan models. The loan models, there are 3 different types of it. So the first one I explained was the standard loan. The player goes from club A to club B for 1 year and comes back. Simple. The second one is a loan with a buy option. The player goes from club A to club B, and the club B has the option to buy the player after 1 year permanently. The third option is a loan with an obligation to buy. The player goes on loan for the first year, and then after 1 year, the club has to buy the player, and it became a permanent player of that team. So that's kind of summarize everything together. Thank you guys.